I just finished watching the first season of My Hero Academia. It was pretty good, a lot to like about the show. But before I move on to season 2, I'd like to get my thoughts on the season down, lest they be diluted by its sequel. So, what do I want to talk about regarding this show? The powers? The humor? The occasional inconsistencies? The universe's hero-villain dichotomy? Well, not any of these things specifically, though I may touch on them at some point. No, I want to talk about my favourite character thus far, Katsuki Bakugo. Why Bakugo? Before I go any further, a disclaimer. This one is 100% my opinion. It's about how I, specifically, relate to Bakugo, not how everyone does. Cool? Cool. So like I said, why Bakugo? Why not All Might, who would be easy to idealize, like Midoriya does, or Midoriya himself? Probably the most universally relatable character in the show, being that none of the audience themselves has superpowers, I assume. Or why not any number of the colourful cast of characters we are presented with once we get to UA High? Because out of all of these characters, Bakugo is the one I find I have most in common with. Maybe this seems odd. I don't know if he changes during the course of the second season and or the manga, but I relate to him for what is shown to us during season 1's runtime. I relate to this narcissistic psychopath more than anyone else in this series, because I too am a narcissist. My channel's tagline will inform you of my borderline psychopathy. And the best thing about him is, he's not a bad guy, and I don't perceive myself to be either. So, let's get into why I personally relate to Bakugo so much, and where him and I differ. The jack of all trades, master of one. I really wish they'd expanded on Bakugo and Midoriya's past more. This isn't to say they don't explore it enough, they give us ample time with these two as children, but I would have liked to see more of how Bakugo became like he is today. He's noted by Midoriya as being pretty good at whatever he tries. He could be a leader, he could be fearless, he could be a good footballer. But it's not until he manifests his quirk and has praise lavished upon him for it that he goes down the wrong path. This was where I began viewing Bakugo as a nuanced, relatable character, as opposed to just a standard asshole rival or anti-hero, or whatever they were going to make him. I understand this motivation. I, myself, when I was younger, was pretty good at everything I did, but I was never the best. I was the one kid no one minded having on their team for sports, but I was never the captain. So when I was about 7 or 8, and I found that one thing I was the best at, my entire life became about it. I think I was 7 when I first joined an acting class for children, and found that I both loved it and had some natural talent for it. 7 years later, when I've had the practice to improve my talent, my teacher told me that they thought if I tried to be a professional, I would succeed without a doubt. I was, of course, ecstatic at this, and in part this has led me to my overall love of media, and also my incredibly high self-worth. Because when I joined that acting class and was told that by my teacher, I found what I believe to be the key to success. Confidence. I was much older than Bakugo when I found this way of life, so I remember what it was like to not be this way. When I say confidence is the key to success, I don't mean that, for instance, believing I'm the best poker player in the world will make it so, but that believing that will allow me to be the best poker player I can be. So coupling this blinding confidence with one's natural talents can make them achieve great things. Bakugo embodies this. He's a bit of an asshole about it, but he is consistent in spouting his belief that he will become the top-ranked hero. When he found what he was good at, he was adamant he would become the best at it. But having this talent and ambition is what leads to a skewed relationship with Midoriya, and what makes that so great. Winner by default. Why does Bakugo hate Midoriya so much? Especially at the start of the show. One could put it down to Bakugo just being a bully, but I don't think that's the case. Midoriya doesn't have a quirk, but Bakugo sees him as a threat. His biggest, and perhaps only threat, to being the number 1 hero. Why is this? Because Midoriya is better cut out to be a hero than he is. We see him realize this in a flashback when he falls into a river. Instead of asking if he's okay like the rest of the kids, Midoriya jumps down immediately to check if he's okay. Midoriya is his worst nightmare. Somewhere in his mind, Bakugo knows he's only the best because Deku was unfortunate enough to be born without a quirk. That if he had one, he'd be leagues ahead of Bakugo. That's why he hates him. That's why he keeps telling him not to try and challenge him. Because he's not 100% sure he'd win. Because Midoriya is the better hero. It'd be like knowing you're only the best in the world at what you do because the one guy better than you suffered a career-ending injury. You see, the world doesn't just care about outright power. If that was the case, villains would be incredibly popular too. So even if he's not the most suited to it personality-wise, Bakugo has to become a hero to get that praise and justification he seeks. One of my favourite scenes in the show is, after their first practice battle, Midoriya comes to tell Bakugo of the nature of his power, as Bakugo has repeatedly said, or rather screamed at him, the accusation of him hiding his quirk. When Midoriya tells him he inherited his power from someone else, Bakugo is having none of it. He says, despite how little he wants to admit it, that Deku won, and he agreed with the girl who criticized his battle practices. How he watched the others fight and thought that he couldn't beat them all. Then All Might runs up to him to give him some reassurance, telling him that he must learn from his mistakes to grow as a hero. But Bakugo stops him in his tracks, telling him that he doesn't need to be told he'll be great to be so, that he will be the best. He takes this failure, and it doesn't crush his ego and make him the good, subservient, supporting character I thought it would. He takes it and uses it as fuel to further his desire to be the best. He's stubborn, he's an asshole, he's a narcissist, and I love him. I hope you enjoyed this post on My Hero Academia. If you did, then please like and subscribe. And Izuku better hope that Uraraka spits.